of Iman. So when he said do not become angry, that didn't mean that don't ever have anger, because that wouldn't make sense. Every one of us gets angry, but it actually means that that anger you have inside you, don't act on it in the wrong way. Don't act on it by disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? That's what it means. So it's a natural tendency of human beings, just like crying. Okay, not acting on your anger is something that's more practical and useful, and something that we can all accomplish with practice and training the soul, inshaAllah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Imam Nawawi mentions in that the meaning here is acting on your anger, but not anger itself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ, that the believers and those who are conscious of Allah are the ones who spend in Allah's cause during ease and hardship, and who restrain anger, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, and those who pardon people. Those who pardon people, who swallow their anger. So what that means is that, okay, you're angry, but you know what? You control it so much, you just let it, you cool down, right? And in the hadith, we are told a couple of things that we should do from the sunnah when we get angry, okay? What are some of the things that we should do? And this is very, very important that we learn this and we teach others, that there's things we do, and when people don't do it, you know what happens to them? They become red, their veins start to pop out, and they basically become like a monster when you get very angry, and if you cannot control your anger. Okay, and we all have probably experienced that at one time of our life, where we become so angry that if you don't stop and if you don't leave from that spot, if you don't stay quiet, you're going to end up saying or doing something so bad that you will regret it definitely. So the number one thing that we should do. So look, the hadith explanation. Okay, anger. The Prophet explained, it is an ember that the shaitan throws in the hearts of the sons of Adam that boils the heart. Okay? It boils the heart. People become angry, they get hot. So the number one thing, seek refuge with Allah. The hadith was, the Prophet said, he was sitting with the Prophet, a man, and two men were slandering one another. One of them was red in the face, and the veins on his neck were standing out. The Prophet said, I know a word which if he were to say it, what he feels would go away. If he said, I seek refuge with Allah from the shaitan, what he feels, his anger would go away. Yani the first thing we should do, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Another dua could be لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله, meaning there is no power and might except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These words, especially the first one, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, it will calm you down. It will relieve you. It might take a few seconds, but it'll relieve you. Just like a pill when you take, it'll take a couple of minutes, but it'll start working. Number two thing, become calm and silent. Okay? If anyone becomes angry, let him keep silent. Because you know, another hadith comes that no one should judge another in the state that they're angry. So if you have to make a decision, or you have to do anything, speak. You cannot be angry, because you're going to say things that are so wrong. And how many people we've seen. And let me tell you something very, very sad. You know, I do nikah, right? I perform marriages, nikah. And in the last 2 years, within the last 2 years, I've seen at least 5 or 6 couples, young couples, who got married, and unfortunately, the marriage wouldn't last for longer than maybe a couple of months. One of them 1 year, another one a couple of weeks. And you're like, what is going on? What's wrong with this? Is there something going on? And almost every single case out of those 5 and 6 cases is a case of the man. Most of the time it's the man. The woman is also involved sometimes, but the husband or the man, in this case the young man, ends up getting angry over something very minute, and because of that anger, says the words, talaq and divorce. And the words are very powerful, and they're very important in our religion, that when you continuously say it, and you say it actually works, and it counts. It does not mean that you say something, you divorce it, and it's a joke. When you use the word talaq, and you're saying it continuously, you have actually, now this marriage is nullified. Now you cannot, there's certain things you have to do to come back. So this person, he's saying it without thinking what he's going to do, And he's saying it in every case because he's angry. And the anger is so overpowering that he has no other choice. He feels that if he says these words, it's going to make him feel better, or it's going to calm him down. And afterwards, every single case of this kind of incident, the man is crying, the man is coming and saying, I don't know what I've done, I've ruined my life. Shaykh, please help me. Let me do something so I can come back. Do something so I can fix this. And how do you fix something like that? How can you, it's like dropping a glass plate and letting it shatter into pieces and then saying, you know what, we're going to put it back together and tape it up. It's not going to be the same again. It's never going to be the same. So things happen when people get angry, and we need to really be careful. If we are not careful, then these things are going to happen. People are going to do things, and the shaitan is there. And the number one thing that the shaitan loves is to see two couples, two married people, finish their marriage. That's what the shaitan wants to see. So the number two thing that should be done is keep calm and stay quiet. Don't speak. In fact, get away from there. If you know that as long as that person is there, you're angry at, you're going to say something, right away leave that place. Just leave. Get away from there so you don't say anything. Control your mouth. It's very dangerous at that time. Number three, change. And not just this, it's not only about speaking. Watch what you do also. I met one sister in the masjid. For about 2.5 years, the sister was very, very loud. I mean, like, as in, when she would come in the masjid, the whole masjid would know she's there. Right? You gotta have some modesty, a little bit, right? Like, the whole masjid would know that this sister has come in and everybody can hear what she's saying. So of course, you have to give that person a reminder. I mean, after all that time, I would think, I waited, I said, you know what, somebody might let her know to not be so loud, maybe somebody could tell her. One day, I decided, after we had a little talk, like a speech was done, a class I believe it was, and the sister had a very loud question, the same sister, I answered the question nicely. After that gathering was done, and the people were dispersing, I seen the sister, and I came up to her and I said, sister, you know, it's very important that I kindly told her, you know, to be a little bit less, not to be so loud, and that is part of our modesty of our voice. That sister, even though I tried to tell her in the nicest way, she took it so wrong. She became so angry. She didn't say anything then. But you know what she did? She went into the sister's room. She opened her laptop. And I had an idea what was going on. I didn't say nothing. I left. I said, look, I told her as nicely as I could. That was my duty. I went. The next day, one of the board members comes to me. And he says, a sister has sent like a 10-page email to our entire masjid, to the board, showing that you have, you know, done so much wrong, and you've done this, and you've done that. 10 pages. I'm like, how do you have the time to write a 10-page email? Because of that anger. The anger is just filled inside. It's rage. And when you're in rage, you are out of control. You're going to say things. And you know what you're going to do? All these things that are held back from days and days, it all is going to come out on the person that you didn't want it to come out. And man, it was bad. It was so bad. And you know what happened at the end of the day? I said, look, the sister's upset. I know she's upset. So you know what? I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, I told her something that's nice. They said, look, you know, she's very upset and she's going to call a lawyer and this and that. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Do whatever you want. I did my duty. I was nice. If the person cannot take an advice, you know, that's another saying of the Prophet, that the most ungrateful person is when someone gives advice to them and they hate him for it. That's an ungrateful person. So she sent a 10 or 8-page email. After that happened, I've never seen her in the masjid ever again. She would never come back. She would never even, just never come back to the masjid, never visit, nothing like that. So at the end of the day, I asked, whose loss was it? You know what I mean? Like, why? Why would you go through all of that? Just take a little reminder. And it was in the nicest way possible. I'm like smiling. I'm trying to tell her in a nice way. And again. And then I find out another thing. That this same sister is one of the sisters who gives a khutbah in, there's a sister's masjid I'm sure you've heard of the Sisters Mosque in Los Angeles. She gives khutbahs there on a bi-weekly or every other third week. And I'm just surprised. I don't know what to say. But anyways, the point of telling you all that is that when you're so angry, you could do anything and you could say anything. That's why it's very important to just relax. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, number 1. Number 2, stay quiet, don't say nothing, and don't do nothing right away. Just change position. That's the third thing. Change position, make wudu. If you are standing, sit down. If you're sitting, just lay down. Let these positions, changing them, it's an experience that it changes your mood. It will relax you. Make wudu, hold water, because this anger is like fire from shaitan. And by you washing yourself, by you cleaning, you're basically extinguishing that fire. Number 4, remember the promise of Allah. Whoever controls his anger at the time when he has the means to act upon it, Allah will fill his heart with contentment on the Day of Judgment. Some people, they have the full strength to take revenge. They have the full power to take and act upon anger, but they stay back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them for that. And the sunnah, look, this happened to the Prophet ﷺ. Anas said, I was walking with the Messenger of Allah, and he was wearing a Najrani cloak. It was a certain type of cloak from a place, with a rough collar. A Bedouin came and seized him roughly, took him by the collar and by the edge of his cloak and started to pull. Okay, I saw the marks left on his neck by the collar. Then the Bedouin ordered him to give him some of the wealth of Allah that he had. The Prophet turned to him and smiled, then ordered that he should be given something. Okay, now this is unheard of. The Prophet is being choked here, he's being pulled, but the Prophet knew that this Bedouin, these people are very rough people. They're people like not from the city, they don't know any better. They used to come up to the Prophet and say, hey Muhammad, tell us, what about this? And the Sahaba would look and they would be angry. Like, how could this person say that? Say, oh Messenger of Allah, oh Prophet of Allah, how could you say just so roughly to this person? But they were people like that, they didn't know any better. And they were very loud people, they were very rough people. So when he did that, the Prophet did not get angry. He realized that, look, this person they're born and raised like this. He was kind to him. He smiled in his face. That's the way he had replied. And he actually had someone give him something. So when we see that kind of, response, then you can only, what else is going to happen? You're going to melt. Your heart is going to melt. You're going to actually see the person, instead of being angry, he is kind, he is kind. I'll end with this very beautiful story. This story, a lot of people say this is by Zayn al-Abidin rahimahullah, who was one of the grandchildren of the Prophet ﷺ, and some say this story was attributed to Hassan ibn Ali, the son of Ali radiallahu anhu. Hassan, the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. So, one time there was they had servants, they had people who would serve, or workers in the house. So, Hassan radiallahu anhu, he had guests over at his place. And there was one of his workers or one of the servants, they would bring food, and this is way after when when there was more provisions, when Islam became more widespread, more wealth came in, and people were more affluent. So they had people to serve others, they had more, anyways. So one of the servants or one of the workers at the house was bringing some food on a tray or whatever it was, whether it was some dish, some kind of food, and she was bringing it for the guests of Hassan radiallahu anhu. And here, as she's walking, she trips, or she falls over, and the food drops. And now, Hassan radiallahu anhu, he is obviously upset. He's getting angry. And you can see from his face that, oh my goodness, like he's angry. However, now look at this, subhanAllah. When the people of that time, the companions were that knowledgeable, when there was so much knowledge at that time, even the servants and the average Joe, the everyday person, was also had a lot of knowledge and wisdom. So when she drops this food, she immediately remembers the verse that we talked about, that the righteous, those who swallow وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ. So she recited this verse. She said, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, that the believers are those who swallow their anger, who control themselves at the time of anger. As soon as she recited that, you can see that his posture was different, and he was a little bit more relaxed. He realized, I'm getting angry, I should calm down. And so he relaxed a little bit, and he said, okay, just like we can clean this up, we'll take care of it. And then she continued. The verse continued, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Not only are the believers those who swallow their anger, but they're the ones who actually let go. They forgive and forget. Right? So وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, they forgive and they forget. So you know what he did? He said, look, okay, I forgive you. What she's trying to say is, don't just be angry, forgive me also. So she read this verse, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, and Hassan radiallahu anhu, he said, you know what, okay, I forgive you, I'm not angry at all, and I forgive you for any of this. And then she completed the verse, وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and Allah loves those who do kindness, who are kind to others, who do goodness. So you know what he did? He said, you know what, I free you also, because she was a servant, she was a slave. So he said, I free you. You're free from today. You can go. You don't even have to stay here. So what happened as an accident, as something that could cause a lot of anger, here, because of these verses recited, this person is reciting these verses, and right away they're acting upon the verses, and not only does he suppress his anger, not only does he forgive her, he says, you know what, you're free to go. And she leaves, and she's gone. SubhanAllah. So these are the people who believed in Allah and the last day, and they would not let anger get the best of them. They would control their anger. Stay quiet, calm down, stay silent, leave from that place. Or what was the other thing? Change your position. Make wudu. Another thing, drink cold water. That also helps. Drink cold water. And just get away from that area and change what you're doing. That will relieve you. But as long as you're there, what happens when people are angry? If they're angry at that person, they'll continue staring at that person. They'll stay there, they'll think of things to say, their anger boils up. And you know what happens when you keep thinking of what a person has done to you, what a person has said? What happens? You're getting more and more upset. It's enticing you. You're just boiling up. And if the person is still there, man, they'll just tell them what they need to hear. They'll just tell them off, and they'll keep going at it, and they'll add more words, swear words, this, that, and they'll think of the worst things to say. And when that's done, and when you've broken someone's heart, it's very difficult to bring that person back. Very difficult. You've broken a person's heart. It's like you've completed that relationship between you and that brother. And now it's so difficult. Every time he sees you, hears your name, he'll feel hurt. So let's not be of those people. Let's continuously control that anger, because every one of us will get angry, and we will have to control that anger. And staying hungry also helps a person. Staying hungry, sometimes people say, you know what, when I'm hungry I get very annoyed, I get very frustrated, but no, it actually is helping. It will help a person. Drinking cold water, all of these things, let's inshallah practice all of this, so that we may be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of these hadith have to do with, again, it has to do with the society, with social goodness, with bringing communities together, with maintaining relationships. And that's how a believer should be. He should be the one who is the example. Right? That when a person comes in, everybody knows him, and people have a good relationship with him, and they know that this person will not harm another person. They can trust this person. They will not be scared to stay around him. Sometimes you're scared to stay next to a person because you're afraid he might say something to you that might hurt you. You're afraid he might say something to you that might get you angry. We don't want to be a part of those type of people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq. Whatever has been said, inshallah, Allah give us the understanding to practice these hadith. Inshallah, they're very simple hadith. We try to memorize them. especially the beginning one here, the first part of this. I understand when I was a kid, a lot of these hadiths, they were in one line on this big huge chart. Like this, Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut. That was like one big line, translation, and then the next one was another complete line, and so we can just easily memorize this. The first part of all three is whoever believes in Allah and the last day, very easy. It basically is just the second part. فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ فَلْيُكْرِمْ ضَيْفًا فَلْيُكْرِمْ جَارًا. But they're so important. These will be the foundation here to build a strong community and to build ourselves, inshallah. So I think that should be it, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use understanding. Subhanallah, you guys have any other comments or any questions? How big is the class usually? Is it like same students?
It's usually around 8 to 10.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay. I think Sheikh Shahid wasn't here, so Allah decided to. That's good. It's a beautiful thing that you have the environment here and you started the class. This is a very comprehensive book, mashallah. You guys are learning from this book, right?
Yeah.
Okay, inshallah. So, I believe that was it. Do you have all the classes recorded from Sheikh Shahid?
Yeah, we already give it to.
Could I get one of the copies? I wanted to see how he does it, mashallah.